but we're just going to make another run at it. So we've all had the same problem of me and John wanting to meet up, and I shoot John an email saying, hey, do you have time to meet up at some point next month to chat about my new venture? He'll reply back and say, sure, I'm up for that. I'll say, how about August 4th? He'll say, nah. August 6th, I'll say, sure. 2, he'll say 3. I'll say my place. He'll say his place. I'll say, I'll send an invite. And once we're at August 2nd, he'll send a reschedule. Then the whole thing starts over again. And we all fucking hate it. The only way to solve this is to become SVP of Flim Flam at Time Inc. or Hearst. You get your own PA, and you can say, hey, Emily, set something up with John at some point in August. Archive. She can call John, email him, shout it out the window. I don't care. Just set up the bloody meeting. Just do your job. That's us. I don't want to hire 400 people in the Philippines, though, to be Emily. So what we set out to do here is to build Amy, a personal assistant powered by artificial intelligence. So something where Amy will be able to understand the initial request. What is it that you want me to do? Once she understands the request, hold a human-like dialogue, understands who she works for, which is the host, not the guest. Move that towards some sort of conclusion under the constraints under which it was asked, such as in the beginning of August, next week, I don't do meetings at 9 p.m. I do meetings over the weekend with new smart engineers, but I'd rather do it on Saturdays. I don't really do meetings outside of the office unless there's an opportunity for me, and I have all sorts of preferences set up for me. We want to build her. We don't want to build her as yet another web service, yet another app, yet another extension, yet another plugin. I just want Amy to be just like that PA from Time Inc. at 55K, but I want to sell her for 10 bucks, which sounds like I'm in a different business, and I'm not. And I want her to be so good that you are a little bit in doubt. Did he really hire 400 people in the Philippines? And are they just really good at this? So what I said before, haven't prepared anything. So this is the prestige. So anybody in here want to participate? So you're going to fail with me. So we're going to be 2 at least. That's kind of lose face tonight. So you're an engineer. So you I trust. Are you up for it?
Sure.
Cool. Come up here. This is not a plant or anything. Don't. You can pick anybody else if you want, if you think it's a plant. So you're going to take this phone here. I'm going to take mine. And we're going to do demo and QA at the same time, just because we're not yet as fast as I want us to be, but you know, we'll be there. We'll be instant at some point. So let me go back to my inbox here. So you see my inbox? You have your inbox. Send me an email asking for whether you can come by and check out our open positions. And my email is dennis@x.ai. I'm going to get a whole lot of spam now. And it goes both ways. Either you shoot an email to begin with.
Trying to challenge the AI agent.
Oh, this is no good. This is no good. So typically what happens is obviously that you wake up Monday morning, you check your inbox, you got 60 emails, tons of tasks, and there's those requests for, hey, Dennis, can we meet up in the next couple of days to talk about your new role? Okay, fair enough. Did you send that? I will then receive an email, and what I don't want to do, and what you all done is, once
your screen.
Once you receive those emails, I have a couple of personal tactics. I actually counted my meetings, by the way. I did 1,019 in 2012. I had 672 rescheduled. What a bunch of fuckers. By hand. So what I started to do was those that weren't super interesting. I would say something like, yeah, I would love to meet up. How about sometime in the autumn? Which is really kind of, I just don't have the time to kind of figure this out right now. So what I'll do now is I receive an email. It says Meetup. I'll click reply and say, sure I am up for that. And I will now do here, CC in Amy. Whew. I'm happy I don't have anything on my short list there. CC in Amy, and I'll click send. Usually I'll be a little bit more polite. And what's really funny here is, even though we've advertised that this is AI, the way people speak to Amy, where it could be this short, it's not this short. Hi Amy, would you be so kind? Doesn't really mean anything. Or, that was very nice of you. Thank you very much. It's not like the machine is any more loving towards you next time. She's as happy as she was to begin with. So I sent this email back, and what happens here is that I don't have to do anything. I'm sure you tested out the same apps as I have. I need to go into a DoodleMe, a TongleMe, a Assistant.io, all nifty little apps. But what you really see here is, I'm in my underwear, I'm in my bed. Do I do click, click, flip, 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 sharing app, flip, 3 times, click, 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 send to John, click out, back, 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 did I receive it? And now I have to await, but also control, did he actually respond? Do I then hold a task list of that? Or do I leave it in my inbox? That just doesn't work. So I want to do that one email. You should then receive an email from Amy at some point. So let's see what happens. Are you on?
Yeah, yours.
Okay, okay.
They are.
This is good. This is live demo.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Don't be afraid. That is the only way. So while we wait for Amy to get back to him, you can choose to kind of ask me questions. But while you think about a couple of questions, I'll give you 3 major challenges in what we do here, the way we see it at least. One is it's actually very hard, and there's very little science on how to hold a conversation. So I'm a huge fan of IBM Watson. If you think about IBM Watson and some of the science which they've applied, it's very much in the category of question and answer. And there's actually a lot of science around how to do just that. We're actually in the business of request, negotiation, and then the action. Holding that negotiation is just difficult, and moving it forward. So that's the one part. The other part is, it is hard to truly understand your preferences. So I think a lot of people who attack this space, at least to begin with, believe that your calendar was black and white. As in, there's free time and there's busy time. And that's just not the case. Can you open up his screen, Per? That is not the case. So I might have my whole day tomorrow booked on new candidates. Booked, solid. But if Jordy from SoftBank calls, I'm free. I'm free the whole day.
Here's Amy.
Here's Amy. Okay. Hi, Per. I'm happy to help set up this meeting. Are you available on Thursday, July 17th at 1 p.m.? Not if Denny's also available. Friday, so on and so on. Don't let me, you have to suggest more options. Okay, let's throw her a curveball. You'll write back and say, Amy, nah, that's not good. Really maxed out. Any other options? So while he speaks to Amy, as in, that was just no good. And hopefully she'll come back with not a, then it's not happening. But hopefully another few set of options. Understanding those preferences are actually hard, because it looks like I'm busy, but I'm free for some people. It looks like I'm free on Friday mornings, but I actually keep those mornings free because I have 2 girls at home, and sometimes I head up to the school for their, that family Friday. So I actually keep it free just in case that, that day I have, some heart, and I'll do just that for an hour. So it's not black and white. My whole calendar is all gray. Then comes obviously, other simple preferences for, you don't do early meetings, you don't do late meetings, you don't do meetings on the weekend. But then there's the outliers. So you do meetings on the weekend sometimes. You do early meetings. You do have that one friend in Australia. And we need to have an understanding of this as well. So that's that, I think, second hard thing that we need to solve. And the third one is what I kind of illustrated with my good friend Jordi from SoftBank is there's a set of social dynamics built into meetings. You meet up, you meet down, you meet sideways. I like meetings at my office. Again, when I email Jordi at SoftBank, hey, I'm about to do the next thing, you ready? Sure, I'll listen to that. But at no point did we say we're meeting up at his office. He knows, I know, and we met up at his office. But that was a given. That's a set of social dynamics that we need to have some understanding of. Also, if I'm fully booked and I need to kind of push some guy, who do I push? Not Jordi. I can push anybody else that day, but not him. So that is really hard as well. So, did you reply? Did she come back?
Not yet.
Not yet? Let's cool it. So, once we've come to the end of this, doesn't work for me. Anything else available? So once we come to the end of this, and we've kind of done the negotiation, then comes, and this is where...
Here's Amy.
Would next Monday, July 21st at 1 p.m. work for you? Let's be kind here and say, sure, that is just wonderful. Or sure. We can keep it short. A funny thing actually is we capture more data if people think she is somewhat human, just because people tend to elaborate more to humans. And what we don't want here is that it turns into a syntax-operated system where, oh, I need to say, meeting : space, Dennis, available, comma, New York. Not cool. That just wouldn't work. I need to be able just to communicate just like this. So what should happen now is obviously that she receives the confirmation. She knows my calendar. That's why she suggested the times. And she should send back an invite to both me and our friend Per in the purple shirt.
We can ask questions?
Yes.
You need to configure anything, or if not, how long it will take for Amy to understand what are your preferences?
So I wasn't as brave as you in saying automate 15 times, and
we are doing it automatically.
So let me repeat. As the first presenter, we are fully automating this, and I don't want you to tell me anything. So what we can do, and if you think about it really, is that in your calendar lies already 3,000 decisions. Who you meet with, when you meet with them, how often, for how long, where. And not only that, as you start talking to Amy, just like you would with any other human assistant, you would say, Amy, 10 p.m. Friday night, not fucking cool. Tone that down a little bit. That becomes a preference request. Hopefully people are actually even more rude. I can't say that here, but I should. This is not being recorded, right? So it is. So this is actually really funny, really rude. I didn't make it up. You know, one of those that spoke to her, which is in the test, called her. I should say. You should come up and I'll tell you. It's actually it's really funny. It's really funny. It's just too rude to be on camera. I'll tell you that in person. So let's see what happens here. On mine.
She's working.
She's working on it. She's assembling it as we speak. But we are teasing that out. But we also see people just immediately email Amy right after they've been set up saying, hey, Amy, these are the 5 places which I like to meet. I like meetings over the phone. If not over the phone, then at our office. I like meetings to be no longer than 45 minutes. Or I think with John, it's half an hour. And he'll punch her in the face if it's not half an hour. And here we have the invite. That's me. I'll click yes. And hopefully Per will have an invite as well. And I will say yes as well. So obviously you see both sides here. What's cool is that for me, one side just doesn't exist. The only thing I did was, sure, I'm up for that. And I CC in Amy. That's the end. There might be 11 ping-pongs back and forth. There might even be a reschedule. Sure, whatever. As long as I meet up with John at some point in the not too distant future, I'm happy. But it's just one email. What happens obviously is that she will come back to the host if she needs to break any of the preferences, such as you gave me some constraints that you wanted to meet up next week. But I can simply not, with the very limited time window, given he's in Europe, set anything up. Can we do this one at 7? And I'll give her a simple, sure, I'm up for that. That's us. Does this make sense?
Of course.
Yeah.
Dennis, so Teddy and I've been using it for 2 weeks now. And I'm so in love with Amy, I can't even.
Me too.
And I have a visual in my head of what she looks like. No, but anyway, so what I'm in the same way that Watson gets smarter with each transaction, really. It's been 2 weeks now, and Amy, I sent her one very brief email with my preferences, but just a couple. And now, like, she's so much smarter than she was a week ago. With my, so is that really?
That is, if I'm brutally honest, that is true, but perhaps reality is this, your perception might be this, which is great. But she's certainly getting smarter. And if you think about it, just based on interaction, but not only that, based on the network. And that is interesting, right? If you think about it here. So I haven't even talked about, I think this is magical. This is the prestige. But if you think about it, it becomes really dramatically different the day that both the host and the guest use Amy. You can play out that scenario, right? So I have an email come in from a friend at IBM saying, hey, not IBM, that's a silly example, from Oracle. Say, hey, Dennis, do you have time to meet up? I'll say, sure. Season in Amy, she'll help set something up. He'll say, oh, good, Amy, speak to Emily about that. What if Emily's Amy? Who the hell is she talking to? She's talking to herself. So what used to be an asynchronous kind of day-and-a-half dialogue, which is what happens between machine and human, because you're not at the office, you're delayed, becomes an instant schedule. That means as you say, sure, I'm up for that. As you click send, I do the insert. Because I already had the negotiation. And that's kind of scary, because then the paradigm for how we set up meetings and how we understand reschedules becomes much more fluid. That means we could reschedule a meeting 17 times and we wouldn't even know. It will actually just be a floating meeting until it kind of fits. And which sounds kind of, that's silly talk. But perhaps that is what happens. That doesn't really matter until we do meet up. That's not today. That's when I have 40 million users.
Time for one more and then you'll be sticking around after, right?
Yes.
What did you use? I don't know, would you use open source NLP or did you build your own stuff? How did you do it?
We have to build our own stuff. Doesn't mean that we haven't used the Stanford NLP library to play with or something similar, which we have. But I don't think there's any, and I might not be right, but I don't think there's any one of the existing libraries that can help us get to where we want to be. And if you look at them, they will probably say we have 84% accuracy on detecting, say, time, 70% on location, 64% on persons. That's not, I need to get close towards 100. So we're taking it on ourselves. What could happen is that you never see me again because I didn't reach 100. And that's okay. That is kind of that entrepreneurial bet which we're making, that given the, if you think about it kind of from a science point of view, Siri doesn't really work because she's supposed to be an oracle. You can ask her anything and you're supposed to give some sort of answer in return. That is just unrealistic. So we've picked a space which is slim but super deep. And I know what the request is and I know what the output is, which is an invite. So the space is finite. It could be a 10-year endeavor and I'll die along the way. I think it's more compressed though, but that's my bet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.